I can't wait to talk about this with you. And this is something that we're going to jump right in right away. We're going to jump into the PWI 500, and you are quite salty about this. So, if you are unaware of what the PWI 500 is, the PWI 500 is a yearly list that comes out from Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It is a list of the top 500 wrestlers, and they've been doing this for decades.
79, I think, was the first one, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long ass time. And they came out with their list last week. So if you're watching along on YouTube right now, you will see the 1 to 100 right now on your screen. So there's the top 100, not to be confused with the Podski 100 that we'll talk about here in a little bit, but want to get your thoughts on this PWI 500.
Look, man, I don't know where to start with it because over the weekend, when you and me and the Mongoose and JC and Winners and Bricks were all talking this weekend, everybody was pretty hot about this list. And, you know, I got really hot about it because there's a lot of people on there. The vast majority of those people are people that I'm very familiar with. And look, I'm not going to act like I know everybody that's on that 500 because there's guys on there that I'm not super familiar with that are in, obscure indies that I just haven't seen too much of or and whatnot. But when it comes to like the luchas and the Japanese guys and things like that, I mean, those are all people that I'm really mostly really familiar with. I've seen work, a lot of times, especially over the past year. And I got really hot, man. There were fundamentally some things about how they put the list together that got me really hot. And when we were talking this weekend, and I didn't even want to look at it. I mean, I literally went to Disneyland with my wife and her, her family with the in-laws and everybody on Saturday. And I tried my best not to even open the link because you guys were already talking about the 500 and I knew I was going to get pissed off. But the thing about the 500 is, it's a Pennsylvania thing. I mean, Pro Wrestling Illustrated is based out of PA, and you try not to shit all over the people back home and in your native homeland, but
Is that serious? I had no idea that that's where that's at.
yeah, it's a Pennsylvania thing. So their headquarters is in Central PA, I believe. I forget where, but um, every year, man, when this thing would come out, it was treated like it was a big deal. And it was treated like it was something where it was really cool for the fans to be able to see guys move up and down and for people to get kind of some respect that they normally might not get. Because again, they're ranking indie people, right? Just as much as they're ranking people from AEW and New Japan and WWE and whatnot. They're ranking people from every promotion, although it's a big deal to kind of see some of your local favorites or some of your national favorites to get included, in a move up and down every year based on kind of what they did. And I always took it like it was a big deal that they put a ton of work into. I always did. And every year when it came out, I remember being even a kid in like the mid to late '80s, I would see those things for sale, and I would beg my parents to let me get it. Or once I got out into the working world, in the late '90s or whatever, I would buy them on my own. I would buy the booklet and check it out, and I would read through the whole thing, man. And I always thought it was really cool the way they did it. But as I kind of was reading more into this, and finally got to look into what the categories were. There were a couple categories that I thought were a little vague and a little subjective. And the thing too about that is it just ended up happening that some of the categories that they used ended up being some of the ones that I ended up using for our Podski 100, for my own rankings, because I thought, what a really good way to rank people, giving them like a numerical value between 1 and 10, especially this category would be something like, how important are they to the promotion, right? Like, where do they kind of fit into the promotion? Are they a main event guy that would get like an 8 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? Or are they kind of like a upper mid card or like a lower card guy that's only on dark or something like that? They might only get like a 5, right, or a 4 or something like that. But I thought, but again, that stuff is subjective. All of that is subjective. There's no clear cut way to rank people that isn't just opinion based or an educated guess, right? An educated way to come to some kind of a number where you rank people. I was under the impression that there were a lot of people that were working either for PWI or with PWI that every year were putting this list together, and that it was this group effort where everybody would come together and put a lot of effort into this thing and rank these guys and be real serious about it. I really thought that's what it was. I thought it was a journalism thing. I really did. I thought it was a thing where people that were a part of the industry from a respected journalism or even a historian standpoint, or maybe former wrestlers, things like that, that had an objective view about certain people's talents, things like that, all came together to kind of put this together. I was a little disappointed, to say the least, when I heard the Jim Valley show this weekend. And I don't listen to Figure Four Online very often. Honestly, the only time I really ever catch any of those guys anymore is when I just take a drive on a Sunday or something, and I'm out and I'm just trying to get away from life for a couple hours. Well, I just happened to click on it, man. I happened to click on the Jim Valley show from this past Sunday. Which was what? Today's the 19th. So that would have been the 17th if anybody wants to go back and check that, September 17th. And he blew it up. I mean, he blew the doors off of it and said right out that he criticized it. I know that Meltzer criticized it. And I only know Meltzer did it through the Jim Valley show because Jim referenced it. Valley referenced it.
Right.
So I don't know if Dave was always part of the work or if he got worked himself. But I know that Dave criticized some of the rankings and that Jim Valley criticized some of it too this past week. And people at PWI reached out to Jim Valley and told him that the list is fake. It's not real. It's not a real list. There's no great conglomeration of people that have this database where they put information. It's a kayfabe list that they just put together every year to get people talking, and they put people in there and they move people around. And that made me really sad. It did. It actually made me sad to hear that, because this is something that I thought was treated like it was a real thing and it was important. And I over the years, man, I know that fans would always get up in arms about their favorite wrestlers being moved up and down, things like that, and they would be talking about it. And the thing too is I think a lot of the talent gets worked with it, because I've seen nothing but people over the years who get pissed off, and they're like, how the hell am I number 86 whenever there's a guy ahead of me at 68 that I did way more than in the past year? How the hell am I 86, 68? I mean, those are very real things that would come up, and it was a lot. You see that a lot over the years. So I'm disappointed, man, to say the least, and we're going to get more into it here. But I'm really disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, I'm super disappointed too, because I always treated the PWI 500 as like the gospel, like that's the list. Like everyone references the PWI 500 when you want to know. Like if I know that whenever I got back into wrestling, and that was around 15, 16, was I stumbled on the PWI 500 and I started looking at dudes and seeing where they were on the list. And then I kind of like figured out, okay, these guys are pretty good. These guys aren't so good. So I literally based my like kind of fandom in the beginning there when I came back to wrestling from the PWI 500 to find out that it's a total sham. It's a complete work, which totally makes sense because of it's the wrestling business and all that. That totally makes sense. But this is something that talents have taken dead serious for years. Like I can think just as of recently as somebody, Jonathan Gresham, was taking his PWI ranking, which was in the top 10 or whatever, in the top 20. He was bringing that to the negotiation tables for contract negotiations. Like, and to find out it's a total sham, like they're only going to put over people that they want to put over, which I mean, is totally understandable. I mean, everything is subjective and all that, but like they've presented this and made this list seem as though it is something more than what it really is. And they've been selling copies, digital and physical copies of this for years. They always have a huge media push. Buy the PWI 500 now. That's literally probably the biggest issue that they put out every single year. And to find out that it's a total sham after all these years is a super bummer. And I'm sure back in like 79 or whenever they started this, like they probably had like really great intentions, and there probably was a lot of thought put into it. And over the years, it's just got dumbed down and lazied out, and it's become what it's become. But this list sucks. Like this list this year sucks.
It's been getting worse, it seems like. And look, man, I know it's really hard to rank 500 people. It was really hard for me to rank 100 whenever we were putting together, our own Podski 100 individually so that we could come together and do a group effort 100. It
Yeah.
was really difficult to rank people versus each other. But here's the thing, man. When there's people that you're not super familiar with, but you know their name and you know that they had a big impact on the past year or a big impact on history or whatever it is, dude, I was able to find 2 to 3 matches of those people just by Googling their name and saying so and so best matches. And you would go and find links to Daily Motion or to YouTube or something like that. And if you're not super familiar with it, but you want to be familiar with it, it's not like it's 85, man. This isn't 1985 where you've got a tape trade. You can go and find these people and investigate who they are. Even the indie guys, you can find matches for these indie guys if you look. I mean, Internet Wrestling TV, dude, is cheap. Fight TV has got a bunch of stuff. It's what, $5 a month? Go do it and do a search. I mean, it's not so difficult to do that. And what really irritates me about it is I love the fact that they're including so many different promotions in this 500, whether it's a work or whether it's real, whatever the hell it is. It's a really great opportunity to give a platform to people nationally or globally that don't know who the hell these people are, right? It is a big deal for them to be able to do that as a talent, to be able to have some kind of visibility to get included in the top 500. And when you are just putting this list together and you're not having any real effort, which is what it is. It doesn't seem like there was much effort here, especially collaboratively. It's lazy and it's irresponsible. It is irresponsible because there is a way to do this where everybody comes together, a group of people come together, and you are serious about it, and you send names back and forth. What do you guys think about Steve Macklin versus Kenta, right? Or Mike Bailey's at 39, right? What do you think about Mike Bailey the past year versus Kenta at 40, right? I mean, and just have those internal discussions and to come up with it, because some of those people are going to say, you know what, man, I've heard of Mike Bailey for years. I don't know who the hell he is. I've never seen him wrestle. I've only ever seen Kenta in NXT. Like, I don't know how to rank these people against each other. Well, dude, it's easy to do this. You just go to Google and you go look at a recent Mike Bailey match, or the best Mike Bailey match you can find from the past year, the best Kenta match you can find from the past year, and you watch it, dude. And you grade those people out. And if a guy's walking out there with a title on his shoulder, whether it's a prop or whether it's not, it's still an accomplishment for that person, for that character. And you've got to be able to weigh those things out against each other to see where they're at. And I'm really disappointed that they did not put more effort into this. And I really hate the fact that they used the win-loss record as part of the criteria for how people get in. Because look, man, if you don't know how to rank people against each other, there's no chance in hell that you're going through and finding out how many damn matches Alex Shelley lost or won over the past year, man. And for some of these indie talents, it feels like somebody walked into the office or sent an email and said, "Hey, man, I know the 500 is coming up here pretty soon. I went to this indie show with my nephew, and there was this guy that looked like he might be pretty good, and his name was so and so." And everybody in the room goes, "Yeah, okay, cool. Just throw him on the list."
Right.
Like that's not okay, dude. It's not okay to do that.
No.
Put the effort into it and make it a real list. Take it seriously. Look, it's a fake industry. We all know that. We all know it's fake. But there's still ways to rank that. I mean, you can still rank actors against actors, right? I mean, people still give reviews of movies, right? People still write movie reviews. Why can't you write reviews of wrestling talent? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's ways to do this where it can still be presented like what you put out is taken seriously. And I just felt like it was really irresponsible.
Yeah, it's. Do you want to run over the criteria that they have? Because I know that there is some criteria.
I think I have it right here. Let me see where it's at here. So they went through like from what I have here, it's win loss record, championships won, quality of competition, major feuds, prominence within the promotion, and overall ability. Okay, here's the issue with that. Now, the eligibility period for this particular year was July 22 to July 23. Okay, that's fine. You go from July to July, whatever. But we can break this down here based on a win loss record. Where the hell are you finding that information? How is that accurate? Are you asking people? Are you asking Mike Bailey how many matches he had over the course of the year and how many he won?
WrestleMania week. He had like fucking 15 matches at WrestleMania week. He did like 5 in one day.
I mean, dude, it's just and you saw one and you saw all 15. And I'm like, look, I'm not criticizing Mike Bailey. I like him a lot. I really do. I think he's a good talent. He's a great athlete. But I mean, we saw that guy have the same match 26 times over the course of 3 days.
We did, yeah.
And I don't know how many he won or lost. I have no idea. And I'm sure as hell not keeping track of it. Nobody else is either. And he's not keeping track of it. Why would you? So the second one, the championships won. Again, we all know these things are props. Now, if you're the world champion within a promotion, that's a different kind of deal than it is if you're the freaking, the light heavyweight champion, right? It's just a different deal because if you're the main guy and you're the champ, you're the face of the promotion, you're the one that does the media, you're the one that gets all the credit for everything, you're the one that gets slighted too if the paychecks go down and the houses go down. So being the champ at the top level does mean something. And look, man, I know that all the ones underneath that are kind of props for the most part, but they're also not. So, but if you're going to use that is a criteria, whether they're real or not, right? Whether they're props or they're not, you're still including that as a criteria for how you're putting people on this list. So you're treating it like it's a real thing. Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine. You want to use championships as an accomplishment category? I think that's good. Fine, we'll do that. The next one, quality of competition. I mean, dude, how vague do you want to be with this? Like, how subjective is that? Quality of competition. What does it mean?
Yeah, you can't put people that are in WWE. You can't hold them to the same standard as people that are on the indies. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, they're not getting the same quality of matches or.
I mean, dude, Ricochet loses every match he's ever been in. He's one of the most athletic, talented people ever. I mean, come on, dude. Dolph Ziggler gets killed every week, and he's probably one of the top wrestlers in the world. I mean, you know what I mean, talent wise. So, I mean, what are we? You can't. It's so hard to use that category. It's just again, that's one of the ones that is so vague that it's almost like they have a mask to hide behind with that, right? Where there's not really any kind of algorithm involved in the quote unquote quality of competition. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's just more subjectivity for whoever's putting the name down.
Right. How many times did Masha Slamovich beat Rosemary? And how high is Rosemary for her to count as quality of competition?
I mean, dude, that's the thing too. We can get into the women thing. Let's earmark that for 1 second and finish the rest of these categories because I want to come back to that for sure.
Yeah, welcome in, Teddy Mongoose.
Hey, well, it's a big show.
Oh God!
You guys keep on keeping on.
I hope.
Major feuds is the next one. Okay. That is another one that is so subjective because I mean, what are the major feuds for one called Manders? You know what I mean? Like, I love that guy, dude. I'm so glad he's on the list. The guy works his ass off. But are you telling me that one called Manders' feuds are should be higher ranked than people who have had a 6-month program?
Yeah. Like, that doesn't make any sense. We should have known that this thing was a total work from the beginning based off all this criteria.
Well, you want it to be real. And we've thought it was real since we were kids. So, of course, we thought, of course, you're going to try to treat it like it's a real thing. The next one, prominence within the promotion. I think that one can be graded because if you're someone who is on TV every week, right? Or you're on the upper half of the card, and I'm talking about upper half of the card being the matches that really matter, right? If you're somebody that's in those matches, or you're a main event person, you can probably assign a grade to that based on 1 through 10, right? If you're a main event guy like a Punk or MJF or whoever, whoever it is, like Roman Reigns, those guys are 10. That's a 10 out of 10, right? But
Right.
if you're somebody like Ricky Starks, I mean, you might tell me, well, I think Ricky Starks is a 6, and I might tell you I think Ricky Starks is a 7. And Mongoose might say, I don't know, dude. He might be he was hurt, he was suspended, yada yada. Maybe he's only a 5, right? Well, all those numbers are different. Everybody's numbers there are different. So are we coming together to grade that out as a PWI staff, or are we just throwing people out there with this, prominence within the promotion kind of stuff that, I mean, it's very subjective. And the last one too, the overall wrestling ability, who's grading that, man? Are
Yeah.
you paying Lance Storm to do that? Who's grading it?
Right. I agree. It's so disappointing, dude. But yeah,
I don't know. Look, we've all been fans for 100 years, and I know that, I can tell you that Kurt Hennig is much better in the ring than Top Dollar, right? I can tell you that. I can tell you Chris Benoit is a hell of a
you ain't telling, bro. Hold on, you ain't telling me that, baby boy. I got to push it best. And I lean TD.
Dude, it's just I don't know, dude. It's Adonis the Stallion, or whatever the hell his name is not better than Jushin Thunder Liger. I'll tell you that. And that's that's just what it is, man. So I can tell you those things, but I can't tell you whether or not somebody is a 7 versus somebody who's a 6, or right in there, where we're all going to have different numbers for that.
But here's the biggest thing with me is that list has obviously been around since we were kids, and I've only ever really, really, I don't want to say paid attention to it, but because I've been into the observer realm and everything to see more of the internet fandom things. Post Lords of Pain, which shout out to lordsofpain.net. Wrath of Tito, your Ratatito, man, your column was the TITS. But the thing is that when Kenny Omega was the number one PWI number 1, and when Jon Moxley was it the year that he came to AEW, and the first time it was Seth Rollins, the thing about it is that nobody scrutinized the list like this. My frustrating thing is I honestly and genuinely feel like they did it this bad on purpose for Pub. It was only to get people to talk about it, to buy the issue, to say PWI over and over again. There's no other reason why it's this bad this year. It never was.
Yeah.
3 decades, dude. It hasn't been this bad. There's no reason for that.
Yeah. I mean, Baker, you even brought up this weekend about at one point, didn't Dean Malenko win it? Wasn't he number 1 at one point?
Something like that. Like, he was super high on the list.
I think he's right. I think Malenko absolutely mid 90s, maybe 96 or 97.
Yeah.
Like it used to be like almost the Smarks thing, like one of those things. Like it should have appealed to us specifically. The people that look. I'm not saying we get it, but I mean the people that get it, that understand you're watching a work, but at the same time you're looking for what you do in the ring, your ability, your effort, how well you've not just how good your promos and programs are, but how well you've improved from point A to point B. And I don't know. I mean, Masha Slamovich, that's the one I just can't get over, dude. Is that Will Ospreay is the best actual wrestler in the world, and whatever the quality of program and prominence in the promotion and whatever in ring ability and all that, they have Masha Slamovich. You get better than Will Ospreay. And again, that's on purpose. That is to make me mad. It is literally like Fox News fodder just to make me mad. Is all that it is. It is like that's all that it is.
But there's no reason why it should be. It is why I'm frustrated with it too. Is like it doesn't have to be. So why did you do this even in the realm of kayfabe, why can't you still put out a list of people that your staff truly believes are ranked 1 through 500? Why are you snoozing
but
it? Why?
where was the kayfabe when Dean Malenko won it whenever he was the cruiserweight champion?
Dude,
I don't know.
You're gonna like
So
this.
how do you hide under the and again, maybe he didn't win it. I'm almost positive that he did.
He did. He was number one in 1997.
There you go. I thought it was 96. So 97.
Yeah.
So where's your kayfabe thing there? Because you don't have one.
Right. Well,
Like because he was
number one.
he was literally, if you asked the WCW brass for a power ranking of their depth chart of talent on the company, they would have had him in the mid 70s beneath the entire NWO black and white behind. Dude, they would have had Dean Malenko behind Crush, behind Scott Norton. Like, there's so many people they'd have had him behind. So I don't know. That's what's annoying is that now they could say kayfabe, but it was only to make people talk about it.
Here's
Well, then you shot yourself in the foot for all future presentations of this.
Yep. They ruined it. Yep, you're exactly right about that.
Because I'm never going to give a shit about this ever again.
Here's some notable number ones, which is really funny because Diesel was number one in 95. The Miz was number one in 2011.
I mean, but why wouldn't they?
And especially the thing with Diesel. Sorry for just clearing my throat on the air. But the thing is with Diesel, as much of like a train wreck in retrospect as that title reign was, bro, he beat the champion in 7 seconds in Madison Square Garden, and he didn't lose for 11 months. Exactly. And it was the number one promotion. And so who's mad at that?
And that's the person that should be number one.
Yep. And even the Miz, like the Miz is our favorite geek on this show, obviously, but at that time, I mean, yeah, he was a champion. I don't know. Should the Miz have been one? No, but could you argue for it that year? Probably, absolutely. I don't know.
Fair enough. So there's Benoit, Batista, Cena, Orton, Triple H was it twice. CM Punk was 2012. Seth Rollins was 15. Reigns was 16. Okada was 17. Omega was 18. Rollins again in 19. So Rollins is a 3-time.
Literally 15 through 19. Those are all correct.
All of those are correct.
Those are all correct.
None of those are fake. None of those are fake.
No.
Yep.
I just don't understand where this one came so far out of left field.
Was Moxley 20?
Moxley was 2020.
Yeah. So those are 5 straight that they got nailed it.
Yeah, and then Kenny was 21, Roman Reigns was 22, and then obviously
6 straight, 7 straight. Dude, 7 straight. The last 7 years, you want to tell me? And I'm not saying that all 500 were correct, but you want to tell me that they absolutely know what's going on that much? Because you just named the best 7 wrestlers of the year every year for 7 years in a row, and I wouldn't argue a second about any of them.
Right. I guess the thing about it is that we're not really arguing about, none of us here are arguing about number 1. We're like arguing about like number 13.
Well, you're right about that. But the thing is it like, I think that it starts with number 1, because giving it to Seth, like, they can say everything that they want to say, and people chant Seth's song, but like Seth is the B champion, and I feel like, if being honest, maybe you guys disagree. Using only the criteria that y'all went through before, the number 1 wrestler from last year, just using that criteria, is probably Orange Cassidy.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, so Cassidy was pretty high on the list. He's number 8.
But I'm saying, just using that criteria.
Yeah.
And the thing is I think they knew that they couldn't use Cassidy, and so then I think that they turned it into a gimmick.
Oh, yeah, true.
Well, I mean, gimmick or not, the laziness continues because they forgot one of the greatest wrestlers in the damn world in the whole 500.
They had to apologize to him, dude. They actually had to apologize.
how do you miss the guy that's been leading a faction and is one of the top 10 wrestlers of the last 20 years who just won the G1 a month ago?
So
And
bad.
how do you not have any connections to let you know that he's about to win the G1?
How do you not
Or
have
at least,
how do you not have a reviewer go through this and say, "Hey, dude, you forgot to put this guy in, who's one of the top stars in the second biggest promotion in the world."
How do you miss that?
And I'll tell you what, Naito had a better year than Okada did. So Naito to me probably should be number 7.
Yeah, some of these names on this list, in the top, and some people in the top 20, like I don't want to kick rocks at people, but like I don't feel like Josh Alexander should be in the top 10. I don't feel like Masha Slamovich should be in the top 20.
I'm biased because one of them is my actual favorite, but I don't understand how Osprey and Omega aren't in the top 10.
Yeah.
They had two of the best matches I've ever seen in my entire life that are objectively two of the best matches that anyone's ever seen in their entire life. And they did one on the biggest show in the third biggest promotion of the year's Super Bowl. And they did the other one on the second biggest promotion in the world's, crossover with that first promotion. But like those two matches alone, but then look at all those things we went through talking about Omega the last time. The Vikingo match. I'm venting about them not having Osprey and Omega in the top 10.
Well, there were a couple that really stood out to me. And look, even if this thing is all kayfabe, like it still doesn't make sense. Like even in the world of kayfabe, it's dumb, right? Because Tony D'Angelo won a belt on a nationally televised weekly TV show and is way behind Dark Sheik.
What?
In the rankings, dude. I mean, look, I've seen Dark Sheik wrestle probably 15 times over the course of the past year. It's not real that person should be anywhere close to the top, whatever they're close to.
What is
Tony D won a belt and had probably 70 hours of TV devoted to him.
Yeah, how much time was devoted to that storyline?
Literally had so.
I mean, how about the okay? So they said that their year ran from July to July, right? I don't even know when D'Angelo won that belt, so I don't know. But I will say this: Braun Breaker was on a nationally televised TV show every single week and was the champion. Didn't lose that NXT title until April, and he was 37. So how the hell is Carmelo Hayes 13?
Well, I mean, I guess I would kind of maybe argue Carmelo might be a little bit higher than him. I personally thought Carmelo was better than Breaker, but I guess I'm just thinking about the highlights. Like his matches were, I guess he's a more I guess because he's a more flashier pick than what Breaker probably is. But Carmelo Hayes, I felt like is a top 20 guy. I felt maybe right outside the top 20. Like he had a really good year. I don't know if it was better than Breaker's, but I don't think that Breaker should be like as. I mean, I feel like Breaker, we talked about him all the damn time. He was one of the guys we were talking about WrestleMania weekend a lot. Like,
yeah,
he was the NXT champion.
How about this one? Kojima, who we all like, had one notable match and is 60 places ahead of Wesley, Damian Priest, Finley, and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah. Where is Dom on the list?
Way down.
Seriously? Is he not in the top 100?
I'm looking right now, too. Where's he at?
Because
we might have to just do a search. Command F. Let's see what we got here.
Dom's not in the 100. This list sucks.
94. He have him at 94.
Okay. I thought he was close to around the 100. Still, there's no way that there's not. I don't think there's 50 more people that had a better year than Dom Mysterio. Like,
no, there's not. The whole thing that what we're trying to get at here is that once you get out of like the top 25, everything becomes so subjective that you can just throw names at a chalkboard, dude. And that's all it is. And that is where I have the issue, because there's still a way to rank all of those people and do this in a responsible, respectful way for all of them, and to not just throw names onto a list, man. It's not okay to do that. And look, if there's only one person in that office that is familiar with all 500 people or 450 of them, then that person should be the one ranking them.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not.
Where's David Finley?
I'll tell you right now.
He's 74.
74.
You know what? That's probably fair. Seriously, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
That was one that I was curious about because he was starting to get a push, and 74 sounds fair. Now, the 73 people ahead of him, I'm probably going to be irritated about, but 74 sounds fair.
Yeah. I feel like Wardlow should not be ahead of him, but here we are.
No, without a doubt, he should.
Yeah, without a doubt, Wardlow should not be 47, but here we are. But yeah,
We got LA Knight at 130.
LA Knight is at 130.
You got to remember, LA Knight got hot though at WrestleMania. He got hot too late.
He got hot. Yeah, he didn't get hot.
That's the argument against LA Knight is that he got hot too late. That doesn't mean that I would say that he should be somebody around. He should be someone around 100 because that is a third of the year.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Time of the year. But
look, yeah. I don't. It's not even that I think. Again, I don't have any problem with the people who are on the list. I don't have any problem with that. I just have a problem with the fact that they just threw a bunch of names onto a list without anything really ranking anybody.
Right. That's what pisses me off. It's lazy. But that's the PWI 500. We can do a plug for the Podski 100 here too, because we've been working on this. We're going to be turning in our lists and then starting to put them all together at the end of this week. So if you're following along on YouTube, you can see all the rules on the screen right now. But if you're listening, we're going to be taking our true list of 100. And this is not an all-time list. This is a list from when Hogan won the belt from Sheik. So this is 83 to present day, a list of 100 best wrestlers. This will be strictly for the men. We're going to do the women later down the road. But we wanted to keep it men and singles, stars only. We're not putting tag teams together. And this is a list where we're going to compile everybody's list, see who they had at one, give that whoever scores the highest scores across everyone's list. And it's basically, if you rank number one, you get 100 points. If you rank 100, you get 1 point. And we're going to put everyone's list together, take each entrance, compile their numbers, and do the list that way. Whoever has the most points wins and will be crowned the Podski, the number one ranking. And that's how we're kind of doing that. We're going to be releasing that from batches of 10, and then there's going to be a whole group of everybody. So everyone that's bringing this list together, they're all regulars. Andretti's a part of it. Mongoose is a part of it. We got JC from Hot Shots. We got beautiful Bobby Winters, who's been on here a few times. We got Bricks Malone. So basically everybody that will be at WrestleMania is putting together this list. And so yeah, super excited about it. And I don't know if Andretti's got anything else to say about it, but I put together my list. And I will say this for PWI, it was hard as hell to put together a list of 100.
Yes, it was
difficult. So I understand that, but put some better effort into it.
Yeah, hats off to George South for getting in there this year at 492. Congrats.
Yeah. Who was Mr. Relevant? Who was number 500?
Andre Chase, who I don't even know if he had more than 2 singles matches on TV the whole year.
You know what? I would have put him in there just so he'd be in the top 500. Because bless the child on that gimmick, man.
I like him too, but they got Dijak really low on here. Dijak's a guy who's been consistently in a feud a lot over the course of the past.
Where's Dragunov? Because Ilya Dragunov, and this is skewed because it's recency bias, but he's a top 20 guy in the world right now. Where's he at?
151. Behind Nick Wayne.
My.
Prominence and
In Mark
promotion. Like,
Briscoe
and
that we
here's
haven't seen in how many months?
so here's the thing with Nick Wayne is that this is all pre AEW debut. So their prominence in the promotion is Defy. And like, look, no offense to Defy, but Defy is a local promotion.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about earlier about like the strength of competition. Like you can't weigh them the same. So
Yeah.